Welcome to Beka by Beka. Let's start out in the back of the mat in Hero's Pose. And just slowly breathe in and out and stretch your arms out and go into Child's Pose. With your hands straight out in front of you, tint the fingers and get a nice stretch to warm up your body. Then slowly lift your chest up and then sort of dive back down. Lift your torso up using your hands to support you. Arms high in the sky, and sit your butt off to the side, getting a deep side stretch, then back to center sitting on your feet, and then dip your hips over to the left side, getting a deep stretch, and then back to center. Get up on your toes and lift your knees up into a squatted position. Tap the toes down, lift them back up using your abdominals. Stretching out your feet. Widen your feet out, knees out into a yogi squat. Using your elbows to stretch out. Slowly tap one knee down on the mat. Then tap down the other knee, warming up your hip joints. Sit back on your butt, legs in a cross-legged position. Bring them underneath you and get into tabletop position. Warm up your spine with some cat-cows. Breathing in and out, dipping the belly down, then curving the spine up to the ceiling. Doing so on the rhythm of your breath. Warming up the back, making it as slow or as fast as you want. This is the weekend, so we're going to do what feels good. Always modify everything to make it especially just for your body. Transition into downward facing dog, and then curl forward, bringing the knees down into tabletop. Let's do a little experiment and roll your mat up. I'd like to try to work on making my form in downward facing dog a little bit better to increase awareness. So just bear with me. Sit in child's pose with the mat on your lap between your belly and your thighs. Then lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog with the mat being squeezed between. This will give you a place marker of what your form is like. If the mat is able to stay and you're able to keep it in there, then you're kind of on the right track. You want to push your chest to be as close to the tops of your thighs as possible. Uncurl and sit your knees back down, cross the feet underneath you. Get your mat back out. And just let's resume now that we've given ourselves a check on our form. Let's get back to some cat-cows. Breathing deeply in and deeply out. I'm increasing my pace just a little bit to sort of get my heart warmed up, getting the blood pumping. Tuck the chin and curl yourself back up into your downward facing dog. And experiment right now. Practice looking underneath your armpits, taking your dog for a walk, and bring your awareness completely into your body, into your hamstrings and calves, so that you know how to move the most to get the most benefit for your body. Catch a wave and transfer into plank position. Lean forward slightly, lower down, chaturanga. And put your elbows under shoulders and lift the chest and heart center up into Sphinx pose. Rock your hips a little bit to the left and right. And let's experiment with movement some more by straightening one arm and looking over your shoulder, and then straightening the other arm and looking over the shoulder, releasing any knots or tension in your lower back. Lift up into upward facing dog where only your feet are touching the mat. Then tuck the chin and curl the body back into downward facing dog or triangle pose. Lift your right leg up and then pull it forward, stepping between your feet. Windmill your arms up into warrior two position. Let's do a reverse warrior by lifting the front arm up and overhead, and then place that arm, lean over towards the front, placing it on the top of your leg and reaching overhead with your left arm. Face the front and slowly bend over, getting a nice deep stretch in that hamstring, pulling your hips back towards the back of the room. Let's do some spinal twists in this triangle pose. First one side, place your arm up into the air, then the other side. You'll feel some different sensations in the different parts of your hamstrings. Really getting them warmed up and exploring with movement. Lower the left knee down on the mat, then lift it up, maybe bounce a few times, but then lower it down again. Arms swoop up into low lunge, feeling a deep stretch in your left psoas. Shift the hips backwards and maybe create some space for your front leg into half split, leaning over that front leg. Get back into plank position, lean forward slightly, lower down chaturanga slowly, hover, and then finally release down into cobra or upward facing dog. Take a few moments to look over your left and right shoulders, because again, we are experimenting by adding some extra movement into these things, truly making this practice our own. Curl back into downward facing dog again, letting the shoulders and elbows fall away from your head and pushing that chest towards your front thighs. Step your left foot in the front and then windmill the arms up into where you are in warrior two position. Look over to the top of your front middle finger. Now shift back, lifting that left arm up overhead. The right arm or the left arm goes back to your back leg. Sorry, I'm getting my sides mixed up. Now lift your right hand overhead, laying your left arm on the top of your leg. Then lower all the way down, straightening that front leg. If you need to shorten the space between your feet in order to do the side twists while you're in triangle pose, do whatever your body needs you to do. You'll feel the different stretches in different parts of your hamstrings as you stretch towards one angle and then the other. Just experiment and see what you can do with your own body. Lower that right leg down and lift the arms up into low lunge, feeling a deep stretch in your right psoas as you shift your hips forward. Put your arms down on the ground and then shift your hips back, make a little space, and do a half split with your left foot forward and lean over, seeing how deeply you can feel a nice stretch in your left calf and your hamstrings. Lean forward again into lizard lunge and maybe bounce a few times, just really stretching out those muscles in your legs. Shift back again into a half split Remember that your left and right sides are never going to be identical, and you may feel like one side might need a little more attention than the other. Because today we're just doing some more experimenting with movement and how we feel, not how it looks. Just completely focus on the feeling in your body. And if you need to do a little bit more on one side or spend more time on one side than the other, you do what feels best for you. Today is no rules yoga, experimenting with our form and the way we feel. Step your feet up to the top of the mat into forward fold, bend the knees generously, and unroll yourself up into standing position, hands above the head. Dive down, swan dive into forward fold, releasing the hands down. Jump back into high plank position, rock forward slightly, put your hands under the shoulders, and then slowly take your left knee and tap your left elbow, then your right. Then take your left knee and pull it forward into pigeon pose. Reach overhead or behind you and grab your back foot and pull it towards your butt. Opening up the chest, grab it with both hands and try to force your back foot against your hands, letting some resistance. Get a deeper stretch. Now get into plank, rock forward slightly, and let's tap your knees to your elbows once more. Getting a nice sensation in your side abdominals. And then pull that opposite leg up to the front, laying your knee by your wrist into pigeon pose on your other side. Grab your foot behind you, use both hands and open up the chest, rotate your shoulders back, and use your back foot to kind of push against your hands. Feeling a nice deep stretch and sensation in this pose. This is King Pigeon pose. Release. Put your arms and grab your ankles while you're in a cross-legged position and do a few Sufi grinds where you're imagining making a circle with your chest, first left and right. Then spend a few moments rocking back and forth on your sits bones, getting a good movement in your low back. Let's do a center straddle. Go as far as your legs will allow. Rotate your hips and slowly lower your chest to the ground. You can grab your toes like I am and just maybe bounce or move slightly to your left and right, exploring some space that you're creating in your hips. Feeling a deep stretch in your center, inner thighs. Now arms swoop up, and let's lean over, grab your foot on one side, getting a nice side stretch. Breathing in and out. Trying to make sure both hips stay grounded into the mat. Now back up to center. Roll your head, release any tension you may feel. And then stretch over to the opposite side, your right arm swooping over and grabbing that left foot. Lay the other elbow close to the ground, getting a deep side stretch. Put your chest and lay it on the top of your leg now, grabbing your heel. Walk your hands up, and now for the other side, lay your chest directly on the top of your leg, on your knee, stretching your legs from a different angle now. increasing your flexibility, creating space in those tight muscles. Breathing deeply in and out. Put your legs together, pull them into your chest, and let's do some more yoga. Just sort of reposition your body now on your mat. Lift up your feet and go into boat pose in a high boat, then lower down into low boat. Pull yourself up to high boat and then back again to low boat. Let's just pulse this. Pull yourself up and grab your feet. Let's do a little bit of time to just play around with the boat positions, low and high, pulsing. Find some different hand positions. See what creative ways you can incorporate into waking up your abdominals as well as your thighs and your legs and all of the different muscle groups that's being used. Practicing your balance, you can always play around with flexibility and balance at the same time. Release down into low boat, pull up into high boat. Now, while you're in boat pose, take a few moments to tap your toes down on the mat. Extend into low boat, pulse back up into high boat. Activating abdominal muscles. Now take one ankle and cross it over the other, grabbing your foot high in the air into this variation of pigeon pose. If you lose your balance like me, no worries, nobody's perfect. Now take the other ankle, cross it over above your knee, and grab your foot, pulling it forward, getting a deep stretch into this pigeon pose variation. Extend back down into low boat. Remember to not ever let your shoulder blades touch the mat. Keeping your abdominals, your core, and your concentration engaged. Pulsing down and up. Take a few more times, a few more moments to tap those toes down while you're in high boat position. When you feel tired of doing that, maybe grab the feet and open them wide, taking some time to cultivate more flexibility and balance into this practice. Sucking in the stomach, an erect spine. Now release. Now let's activate our glute muscles by getting into sort of a pigeon pose, but your back leg, let's pulse that foot up and down, externally rotating. Grab your hands behind you, keep both hips facing the front, but that back leg pulses. Now let's do this on the other side. Let's get into somewhat of a pigeon pose variation. And if your hip is stiff on one side, as mine is, you can always put your hands down and just focus on pulsing that back ankle up and down, activating your glutes, opening up and increasing the mobility in your hip flexors. If you have issues with saddlebags or hip dips, you may enjoy this exercise. That's something I've always had because that's just genetically how my body was made to be. but I do like to do those glute exercises to kind of try to keep those saddlebags down to a minimum. Get into a bridge position and let's tap our hips down on the mat and then bring them up towards the ceiling. You can do this at a little bit more of an accelerated pace just to sort of get the heart rate up and to sort of feel a burn start to happen in your glutes and your hamstrings. Keep your knees facing forward, squeezing the knees together and the feet together. Keep your shoulder blades and shoulders kind of grounded, but use your hips to just pick up those butt muscles. Kind of spend a little time toning. Open the legs into a seated, or not seated, but a lying down butterfly position. Relax the arms down, then grab those feet and extend them. You're lying on your back, but you're grabbing both of your feet wide open, getting a nice center stretch, and really opening up and massaging that lower back. Bring the toes inward and then externally rotate them and pull them out. Extend one leg up towards your ear, then the other one, while the other one lays down more. Then lay both of those feet down on the mat. Put your feet flat on the mat, arms overhead. Reposition your lower back and then slowly get yourself to where you're lying down, and then pull your knees into the chest, hugging them, giving them a nice hug with lots of love. Rock slightly left and right. Extend the feet up in the air. Grab the soles of your feet or your toes. And then pull them up and over your head, landing those feet behind you. Bend the knees and lay your knees by either ear. Extend the legs again. And let's do a roll to where you transfer back into a tabletop position and then back up to downward facing dog. Take your dog for a walk and then roll your back, catching a way forward into tabletop, and then transition back into downward facing dog. Getting some whole body movement. If you need a small break, maybe do a roll of your body clockwise and counterclockwise. Then walk your hands out and let's get into puppy position. Get your knees under your hips and lay your heart down on the mat. Feeling a nice deep stretch in the spine and shoulders. Lower down into cobra, where you're picking your chest up. Slowly lower down. Then pick up the chest and point your toes inwards. See if you can try to touch your head with those toes. Now catch a wave and roll back into downward facing dog, and then forward, lower the hips all the way down to upward facing dog. Then back down to downward facing dog. Take your dog for a walk. Try to kind of take your knee and bump a boob. Do those a few times and lower back down. Get into child's pose. I'm not the best at cueing, which is something I am working on as an inspiring yoga instructor. And I appreciate you all bearing with me as I create sequences and then try to cue properly. Now let's end the practice where we began, in hero's pose, and dipping your hips and buttocks off to the left and then the right side of your feet. Then give yourself a big hug and take a few moments to just settle down. Hopefully, this time on the mat has been beneficial for your mental health and your physical health, increasing your flexibility, opening your mind, and also it's a great thing to just take time out for just you. It's very selfful to make sure you put yourself first and get a moment to yoke together your mind and body. Unwind however you see fit. I have lower back problems, so I love Sufi grinds. It's so good. It feels like massage. When ready, get yourself into a nice, quiet state, breathing in and out, and let's take time for deep meditation. Thank you so much and have a happy day.